What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. This is a show where we talk about the hip hop albums, track by track albums such as Nine's Nine Lives, which is a hip hop project from back in the day times, like a real classic, maybe. That's what we hear on the Classic Quest. That's right. We're going to talk about all of the songs on the Nine Lives project. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
And it's good to have y'all here. So before we get into everything proper, we like to start off contextualizing our familiarity with this artist and describe to you, fan of Nine or possibly Nine himself watching this, to describe why we're here, what's about to happen, etc. Well, I'll answer that. Lindell went over to patreon.com/behindthatsuit and put money into this thing so that we would talk about particular albums. And this is one of the particular albums that is fueled directly by the patreon.com/behindthatsuit efforts as driven by Lindell's quest to educate us across hip-hop. I believe the intention for this was to titillate Chris Chrome's desire for a particular kind of bars. I may be wrong, but I believe that was the intention. So coming into this, have you guys heard of Nine prior to this?
Nope.
I don't think I have. But I feel like I've done a similar album, and I can't remember, but maybe.
I feel like I would remember his voice, given that I listened to the project.
Ribbit.
I think the name itself, don't recall, no. So I know nothing.
Facts.
This is blind eyes for me. This is going to be an interesting ride, because I just have no idea what I'm about to expect. I mean, if we
to be clear, we've already listened to the project for people. Chris is talking about his pre-listening to the project self.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if we're moving into the project art and the cover art and the stuff, that's where I got more of this is gonna be like a darker project. This may be like a little bit of like an intense project. So that's kind of how much I know of this guy.
And you, bud?
Okay. Like I said, I don't think I know him. So this album, The Nine Lives, came out March 7th, 1995. So we're going back. It's definitely a classic. I'll let you talk about it, and then we can get into the cover and all that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Nine coming into this. I have, basically, Lindell requested it, and we did it. And then I've listened to the project a few times. I've read Nine's Wikipedia page. I've looked at his social medias. He looks kind of good with a grayish kind of beard thing he's got going on right now. I respect that look he has.
Ooh, nice.
And that's about as far as I know. Only that, he's still relatively active. And I think that's really cool that anybody can have, a 2-decade-plus career. That's really dope and deserves a lot of respect. But that's it. It's basically one of those people who you see on a Wikipedia page and hear their projects and don't know much about them at all beyond that. So I don't have a lot of expectations, and arguably I never heard anybody really mention him. I know we had a couple of other aliases, like 9mm or something like that, 9mm. And it's possible. I've heard it under a different alias, and people have made reference to him, but this is a first. It's this guy made this project, which ahead of time, just so you can tell I did listen to it. You either gonna love this or you're going to have some troubles with this. And I can see why it's a big classic to some people and not a big classic to other people. So it's one of them projects.
Yeah.
But I still think it's weird how I've never heard it before of him, considering the quality level is on par with tons of people that I have heard of that are definitely there's no objective quality difference. So I wanted to point that out before we get into it. But I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on the cover or the title or anything.
The title, it makes sense with his name because it's 9 lives and cats have 9 lives, or they're supposed to. So that makes sense. And then it also ties in with the cover, because he's part man, part cat or something, because he's got those cat eyes. So it all comes together. That's it. Makes sense.
Yeah, I like the cover though. It's one of those covers where, I mean, the coloring of the font for Nine Lives I might have changed if I was the designer, but it's only because I would have made that color choice. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't there was some like mid '90s graphic designing. That stuff out of the way, it's really cool. It's otherwise like really well done, and I like the way the yellow flows with the nine on his face. I like the idea of how everything kind of is cohesive. I mean, Nine Lives to me, it makes me picture some gritty, you're gonna have to have 9 lives to survive where I come from type vibe. Gonna be a little more
Yeah.
horror-ish, going to be in that vein of just people that are going to be rapping about a life I probably don't encounter a lot is honestly what I picture from this. Like, it's going to be outside of my comfort zone of, my middle class existence. But that's cool. You don't get a lot more from that, only that it's going to be scary. That's I think the biggest thing that you get from the cover with the intensity in his eyes and stuff, but I really do appreciate
Yeah, I heard
it.
about the size 9 shoes. But that's what it was. Part of what he was named after, I guess.
I guess numerology is also a big part of like life in the '90s. So I don't know how much the numbers and all of the mathematics of life fit into the decision to go with 9 either. Anyway,
True.
the project does start off with intro, death of a demo. All right. So what do y'all think of this little introduction?
I thought it
Um,
was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I could see how like if you follow Nine and you like heard his older projects, this may be cool as like an introduction on a new listen. I was like, okay, I kind of get this feeling that he's trying to show somebody this, and the dude's not really impressed, and it kind of seems really just straightforward. And then they revive him back from the dead, which I guess kind of plays in with like the cover a little bit with the eyes and kind of looking different, demonic a little bit, even though like the cat eyes still. So like I guess it's cool, but it didn't really do much. Like it just was what it was. I gave it a 3.8. I was just like, I
Rough sauce. And you, Bunny?
I like how it starts with like, him like playing with like the cassette. Like it's very like 1995, like puts me like back in the 90s. And like how he's like fast forwarding it, like trying to find like the best part. Like it is just such a throwback sound. So I liked that sound and I thought it was like cool that he was doing that. Obviously, like, he didn't realize that, we would be living in the future. So I mean, I think it's cool, it's relevant. For the intro, I give it a 4.4. I liked it.
I liked it a lot too. I thought it was such a like when it feels like you're at the beginning of a movie and it's a little bit of a montage of different clips of shit. Like I really enjoyed the chance against the 9 double is thin. It's like pulling out your dick and pissing at the wind. Cause stuff like that is like pointing out how inconvenient and bad this is gonna look when you standing there covered in piss at the end of the day. And I felt like even
Facts.
without knowing who 9 is, he does a lot to establish here. I've been here, I've done that, and I'm telling you the kind of person I am. I got a pen. I'm here to rap in this regard. Y'all can't come for me. And then it feels gritty too, right? It feels like
Yeah.
it's a tough situation. And then I don't know if he gets shot at the end or if somebody else is getting shot at the end. But just the idea, it feels like he gets killed and the whole rest of his project is him coming back from the dead. Like he's got 9 lives and you can't keep him down. So even that I thought was like super cool because it just kind of like ties into the main element of what you get with just this cover and everything and the overall 9 lives bit. I thought it was like a 4.25. It's a good start to the project, brings you into it, takes you out of the world that you were in. When I listened to it though on the reel, I just kind of like listened to it attached to the next song. So yeah, the next song is Ova Confident. All right, Chris, since this one was the Chris Lindell trying to appease Chris pick, what do you think about this one?
thought it was cool. I felt like this was more of a start actually to me. Just the way the beat comes in, there was like high energy, and it just kind of got me on this vibe. So that was cool. The boom bap did kind of bring me back more than the last track did. I was like, oh, this is where we're at. This is what we're going to be getting. And then when I knew, I was like, I'm either going to really like this or I'm not going to like this. And it's cool. Yeah, no, man, like it's cool. I'm really impressed. Like the first thing that stands out to me is his voice. That was just like, wow, okay, that's impressive. I like how it's like really like loud and just has like this high pitch to it a little bit, but also the way he kind of controls it on certain parts. Like when he goes, fuck, where's that line? Like where he says like remember yeah or remember that, he kind of like goes on this up and down type of like pitch, which was cool to me. But he just kind of proceeds to explain to you why he's different and why he's like real hip hop compared to others. I did like the theme of like having confidence, but like also if you kind of appear overconfident, then you seem weak. Like you kind of have to know what level of confidence you have within yourself to do what you do, which I thought was a cool theme to have on this. And I gave it a 4 on 5.
How do you feel, Bonnie?
It's all right. So like, you know, he talks about like his confidence and like, you know, the confidence is being busted, and like right away, like you kind of get to like hear his voice like when he performs, and like his voice is like very like strained and very like throaty sounding. But like I'm not really sure what to do with this song. Like it's not like dancey enough to like be dancey, and it's not like really like good for like driving. Like I was like trying to like put myself like like when would I listen to this like song? So like for me it's just a song. Like I don't know where to place it or like which playlist to put it into. Like I just kind of feel like that, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it is what it is. So it's good. It's just not like necessarily one that like I would find a place for. So I gave it a 4.35.
So this song comes in, and right away it feels like the 90s. It feels like what all of my independent rapping peers obsessed with lyrical miracle stuff would idolize instantly. And it reminds me how they are not this. And that while they chase this guy is significantly better than them and dropped this like 20 years ago, because it's really good shit. He's so tight, he's in the pocket like fucking crazy. Yeah, I did just start the review just dissing little indie rappers and stuff. I did. That's how it's going to be sometimes, because I listen to this stuff and it's like, man, y'all ain't even good like this. And this is from 95. And this guy's still rapping. And all those dudes are still rapping. So it's like this like realization to it. Like, I love when he's like, I flow like diarrhea when I'm dropping shit. Mamma mia, ain't no cure for the pure lyrical gonorrhea. That's creative.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's so out there, and it's almost like offensive with the references he's making, but not really. It's just more like gross. But like, it's perfectly done. He's got this energy. It's almost like these one-liners flowing over the beat, and it does cohesively stick to the general theme. I-9, I'm greater than you, other rapper. And other rapper, your rhymes are not as good as mine's, which is fair. And I respect that. And
yep.
I don't have a lot of other bars that I felt were like super pop out at me, and I could just go in and kind of go on a lot about them on this track. It really does fit into the overall that for the whole song. Just great lines, well thought out bars. His flow is so dynamic and alive. Like he's just doing all kinds of things on the beat, like Chris said. And he fits perfectly. Like he's really tight. The chorus is a cool interpolation. I think Genius says it's a Queen Latifah song. So it's like cool that they did that. It just feels so old schooly. The outro has that little beat part so that you can make your little beat tapes after. Everything about this just feels like this really incredible what the culture was back then. And he's delivering it really excellently, which is why I was said earlier, I'm so surprised I've not heard of him before, because he's doing it so excellently. And yeah, so I give this like a 4.35 objectively. For me, there's like, I unfortunately, because I've heard so many songs like this, it's hard for me to get as excited for it in 2022. But when I put on my lens of this came out when it did in the mid 90s, it's really incredible, and it's well made. I'm really impressed by the beat. It's got that grittiness to it. The drums just kind of hit nice. Like it's well made. That's what I gotta say about Ova Confident. Let's move on to Redrum. All right, Chris, how do you feel about Redrum?
Yo, when he said flexing and plexing until they catch a dum-dum slug, I thought that was funny. Like, I really enjoyed that. So here we have Red Rum, which is backwards for murder, as Holden said earlier. And
Facts.
he does a really great job at like showing you the dark grittiness of where he comes from and like parts of his life, which I thought is really, really cool. Bring the blues. I shatter and batter crews. Can't lose. Bad news. Don't snooze on the 30 shot. Who's on my whip when I leave my residence? And first off, his transitions when he rhymes and when he flows through the lines, I really appreciate that. Like, I try to strive and learn how to like be able to write like that because it just consistently keeps going. And then he's got these parts that like have like hard stops, which I think do play an emphasis on how he like raps and shit, but it still fits. Like it still just fits within the beat and fits within his flows, and it's really cool. We get more of like where's that line with like the guy who's panhandling and kind of just living in like homelessness, and for him he doesn't really believe in homelessness, so he's got to do whatever he can, and he's kind of stating like this is why we have to murder, this is why we have to do certain shit to get by because we have nothing left, we have nothing else. And you really get that like dark painful feeling from this, and I did enjoy it. Now I also like how for me I kind of took it like with the chorus, the everybody wants heaven, right, but nobody wants to die or whatever it is. It's interesting how like when I played this song back a couple of times, I kind of got this sense of like I want to go to heaven, so I want to do the right things. Unfortunately, the right things for me right now are to rob, steal, murder, and do some of these bad things. But at the same time, it's like I'm also doing these things because other people are doing these things, and I'm trying to protect myself, but I really want to go to heaven, to a better place. So it's like this weird contradiction, like in how we live they live like a certain way for protection, but also kind of glorify wanting to go to this better place, but you kind of need to die, but you're not going to because you're going to shoot the ops type shit. Like if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not completely crazy. Anyway, I thought this was good. I really thought this was really, 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 really good. It's a 4.5 on 5.
How do you feel, Bonnie?
Yeah, he's kind of talking about that, like he's seemingly involved in some sort of street business, and is talking about running from the cops, and also from his peers who are also trying to kill him. But he's about that life. This is what he's doing, and this is what he needs to do. He's like scrimping by and counting coins, so like he's doing this to avoid homelessness. Like he's doing whatever he's got to do to survive in like the wild projects of New York City. And like I know he's from the Bronx, so he does kind of like touch on like that kind of situation. And he does talk about that everybody wants heaven, but like that only comes when you're dead. So it's kind of what he wants is like to die and get murdered so that he can go to heaven. But at the same time, then he's dead. Like, so it is sort of like that, like, oh, what are we going to do? So like, it's kind of like a sad story. I found like when I was listening to it, like when you break it down that like he's doing all of these like dangerous and like not good things like to survive life, but like he sees like the afterlife as just being like this like magical glory, like wonderful place. So but he's gonna keep on like struggling and surviving in life. So yeah, I gave it a 4.5 as well. I thought it was an interesting song.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. I think there's just it's like contextualizing stuff. Like if the first song seems to be I'm a tough guy and I'm bigger and better rapper than you, the second song kind of like adds that flavor of why you need to be this way, right? Like then you go back to the intro where it's almost like there's gunshots and it, you know, like I said, it feels like he gets killed and he's like coming back from it. So it's like the world he's in is wild. You can't trust the people. You don't know who's gonna be like a good person or a bad person, who's a devil or who's an angel. You know, you got stress going on. You're just trying to like make it out. And I do really like that part about the homelessness where it's like, yeah, I can't even conceptualize being that guy. When you see this, it's like you just have to come up with some way to not become in a situation where your whole life is just poverty. And when you look around and that's the environment and that's all that you see, you end up being influenced by it. Like there's a lot of lines where it's like he's really just commenting on the world around him, like suicide on the rise, everybody think they Uzi weighs a ton, shit's getting hectic, too much red rum. And it's like that's a big thing. You don't often hear about the suicides in the hood in a lot of these tracks. It doesn't come up a lot. But then right before that, it's like, get yours, love your mom, save sex. The streets are filled with temptations and mad sin. The last thing we need is St. Ides, which I think is the beer thing or whatever. So it's like you've got intoxicants and all these other poisons, in a sense, being put into the environment, and a lot of people that are just trying to go through it, a lot of mental instability, a lot of murder, a lot of problems, and it's like, wow, this is a lot of social commentary. Like it doesn't feel like glorification or anything. It's just this is what was on his mind. And I like how in both verses it feels like people be drinking a lot, and when you get to drinking, you start thinking a bunch of shit. You start getting paranoid. Your whole mind frame isn't the same thing. Even the cops are apparently getting shot. It's a really like intense song. But on top of that, he's rapping with extreme finesse. His flow is completely on point and versatile, like it was in the other track. But there's such a sincerity, and like you can almost feel the pain in his voice, like he doesn't want this to be what it is. But it's even shit like to make it is easy, to keep that shit is the hard shit. He's talking about like making money. You need some lessons to move on up, like the Jeffersons. You know, like the idea is to like he wants more wealth and prosperity in his community. Like when Chris brought up the Dum Dum Slug thing, it's like a lesson. It's like, bro, think about where you're putting your money. When you flex it like that, look what happens to you.
Yeah.
Shit's bugged on the streets. I liked it a lot. The chorus I found was like an interesting point as well. I did feel like it droned on a little bit long. That's why it's not gonna be a 5 for me. But like it's a solid like 4.35 still. It's like I wish the beats had a little more life to it. A lot of it is like, if you're into that beat, it's going to be amazing. If you're not, it's okay. I think the production's really well made, but it totally feels like the mid-90s. Like, really feels like the mid-90s a lot. But the way he raps it is really incredible. That's all I got to say about this one. It's a really cool song. Like, I guess I'm glad he put it there because, like, having something that was so, like, focused right after something that was so braggadocious adds a lot more substance to the project so early on. It gets you more invested in what's going to come next on it. Which the next song is The Fundamentals. That's what's coming next. All right, Chris, how do you feel about this track?
Yo, in verse 1, when he goes, pop like tops on 40 OZs, make cheese while you sweat me for the proceeds. I survive because I strive, then I cock back my fist and punch out your insides. That was dope. I like that. That gave me like that Captain Falcon old school punch and like fucking Super Smash Bros. I was like, yeah, that's cool. But then I'm like reading it now and I was like, yo, pop like tops on 40 OZs. Now I get that's like, you know, you're popping the top off the cap of the beer bottle and stuff. But then it's like make cheese while you sweat me for the proceeds. I was like, what if he's like making a reference to like the pop charts of top 40? Like that's also pretty cool.
That's what I took from it.
And then he's like working for like whatever the labels or the people, and then they're like sweating him to do the performances and shit. And then he survived because he strived and he just kept doing what he had to do and he got out of it or however. And then he comes back and, you know, punching the industry with how he raps. And I thought that was actually really cool. But then I was like, it's more of just really good bars and really good, like, I'm better than you. Oh, Lord, I got the drop, shot the blood clot nonstop, pop, 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 goes the gas, still fat, still black. Like, it's just really wild to listen to. And the way I still rap and yo, ass is still whack. It's like, he just has this like way of just going and going and just keeping it rolling, which I think is really, really talented. I like how he like also does shout outs like rock the body body, rock the body body, and like he's kind of paying homage to certain like groups. He also does like a Wu-Tang shout out as well, which is cool because like he's really kind of embodying a lot of the people in that era and also kind of giving love to all of hip hop and really like paying respect where it's due, as he's mentioned on previous tracks. So I thought that was cool too. See, another 9 makes Emcee quick. That's dope. But the rest of it, I was like, okay. The chorus has this like kind of big chanty bob type of like anthemic feel to it a little bit, like this type of mantra, and everybody's gonna ride with it. And then we got the outro, just kind of letting you know what's this from, and like, yo, this is what you're about to get. There's more of this coming. I left this with a 4.
Yeah, so definitely like more exposure to like his like throaty raspy voice, and it definitely gave me like DMX vibes. So I can see like how like Lindell kind of associated like this with like DMX. I thought this one was kind of funny because he's like singing in it, and like you so don't good. Usually hear rappers singing, and especially somebody with like this like wildly unique voice, like you don't like necessarily think that he's going to be like he's just singing. And so it's fun, like it's, you know, it's different, it's unique, and he's like showing that he can do what anybody else can do. Like he's just like, I can do it all, so I can sing if you want me to. So I do think he is trying to like show off a little bit on this one, methinks. So it's an interesting song. It's not necessarily one that I would go back to, but I definitely appreciate it. You know, kind of like Chris already mentioned, like I did like that he kind of, you know, referenced like other rappers, you know, like the Wu-Tang and everybody else that you mentioned. So I thought it was good. I thought it was a decent song. I gave it a 4.25 on 5.
I feel like this song was the funnest one I listened to so far. Like, the bars are consistent. Yeah. At this point, like, he's making the one-liners, he's doing his thing, and this one is more on that braggadocio thing. But because of the way the flow works, it's just so fun. Like, you honestly don't even realize how long this verse is. Like, you feel like the verse ends at some point, but it doesn't. It just keeps going, but not in a bad way, because he keeps changing it so very much. Like when he's like, my name is Nine and your name is Mud, I'm like, this is one of the greatest. Like, this is fun. Like, it is just the whole vibe of this verse just hits, and it's like he really actually is a really excellent vocalist doing his thing. On top of, like, he is kind of alluding to the industry and how he's playing the game, and he's not a sucker MC. He's actually got talent, and he's showcasing it by doing these crazy rhythmic flows. And normally when you say that, it's like a guy chops up his rhythm. Like, Nine is featuring himself multiple times with different, like, it feels like different artists are jumping on the track with him, but it's just himself doing like all the parts, which I guess is exemplified pretty heavy on the next song. A little premature spoilers, but it's really fun. Like, I don't know what else I can say about it, but my favorite part is absolutely when he's like, bomb diddy bomb da bang da dang, I got slang like Wu-Tang, not man, he can't hang. Like, the way he delivered that was like, oh, holy shit, that's good. Your voice, an instrument, sir. An instrument, sir. It's really well done. Yep. I really liked it. The outro has a vibe to it. The whole thing kind of slaps. This one's like a real 4.5 for me. Like, I could throw this on, and it was like this. Like, I don't necessarily care about the rapping part. I care about how he raps it. Like, his delivery is fundamentally super dope. And on that note, let's move on to Hit 'Em Like This. So, Ribbit Bunny, how do you Ribbit feel about this Ribbit song?
Well, so at first I was like, is Froggy Frog even another rapper, or is it just like him changing his voice? And then based off of everything that I could find, I couldn't find anything about Froggy Frog, so I assume it is just him because it just sounds like him. So like again, kind of like gave me like the DMX and like the and Damien, like the devil kind of vibes. Like it was kind of like that. Um and Froggy Frog is like fucking weird. And he's just like riveting all over the place. Like it's a very random character to bring onto your songs, but
I've
it's
never heard
interesting.
a
It's
character
different.
like this before in my life.
It's unique, yeah. He sounds like someone with like Tourette's. No offense, like trying to, about anybody who has Tourette's, but it definitely sounds like instead of like weird twitches or swearing or whatever, that he just ribbits all the time. Like it kind of gave me like that kind of vibes. Like there's just a lot of random ribbits all over this song. So it's unique. And I like the way that they kind of like play off of each other, or like he did like the one part and then he like left space for like the other part. Kind of just doing like short verses like back and forth. But for me, I mean, obviously if it's all 9, it's just interesting that like the Froggy Frog really like, or MC Froggy Frog or whatever his name is, like really like stands out. So it's catchy and annoying at the same time. So I really appreciate his creativity with this one. I thought it was like super unique. Is it something that I would go back to? Probably not, but I appreciate it. So it's a 4.1 from me.
And you, Mr. Christopher?
Dude. So, okay, I was like, this is going to be interesting because the name Froggy Frog, I was like, this is going to be an interesting little time.
Let's go.
And then I was just like, yo, fuck this. Honestly, fuck this. Like, I can't even, I'm trying to be nice. And I'm just like, nah, this is the most corniest shit to me.
It's not corny.
Personally. First, I thought it was 2 people. And then, as I just found out, it wasn't. It was the same guy, which now kind of fucks me up because I'm like, well, that's like.
Then now
cool.
It's not corny. It's impressive.
It is impressive. Like, it's impressive that he can.
And
change
he
his
is very
voice like
throaty, so it makes sense. But
Ribbit.
Yeah.
But like
he fucking committed, Chris.
No, and thematically, I love it, and like just with the character, it's great, and the flow is on point, and everything, and the back and forth, and like everything like I ask for in terms of like music is here, and it's like this is dope. I just cannot get past the fucking ribbit, bro. I just can't. Like I just can't. I tried. I listened to it, and I'm just like, this is so
1
stupid.
ribbit, 2 ribbit.
This is so dumb. Like. And I don't want to be mean because
Chris
like,
is Chris
it's
Corny.
actually
I like
really
that.
dope.
That's the new name.
Like-
It's Chris Corny. I agree, Lindell.
Dope, but it is good. Like it's fun. It's energetic. It has that flair. It has everything like that 9 brings, and then just adds this character in. I just can't. But I did give it a 4 on 5 because fuck my opinion. Who cares? The song's actually good, so. That's what it is.
This is an incredible piece of media that exists. Chris doesn't know. He just doesn't get it. He's not a dad yet. He's not old. He doesn't understand the brilliance of old man shit. This is so fun. He just comes on and you realize MC Froggy Frog is just a rapper that says ribbit a lot. And you're like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you could just picture the man sitting there smoking a blunt like, yo, what if I rap like a frog? Bro, what does that even fucking mean? Well, ribbit, like you ribbit, and then you're like, yeah, fucking right. And then I could see 9 being the kind of guy like, you don't think I can rap like a frog, bitch? Get in the studio, come out with this shit, and everybody's like, yo, I don't even know. Yes. I don't know, but let's run it. Because that's my first thought was, what on earth is this? But then I listened to it, and I'm like, he featured himself successfully. Like, and it flows like he's doing a M and Dre back and forth, or a Redman and Method Man back and forth. and he's just himself rapping with the frog guy. And it's fun because it's almost like he wanted to do a collaborative track like this and couldn't find anybody on his level, so he said
couldn't
fuck
find
that and did it
a
himself.
rapping frog.
And
He's like, I'll just do it.
the thing is like, I get why you could perceive it as like hella annoying, but I just thought it was really like rhythmically interesting to listen to because he cuts his flow. So like, especially when he does like the interpolation of the Atomic Dog and then does it with the Ribbit version, like he's just like remixing basic flows with like a ribbit, like a little fucking break in it, right? Like a record scratching. So he's effectively using the ribbit in that capacity in his flow, which I find to be like super advanced. On the other hand, I totally get why people would find it annoying, and maybe it didn't take off as like the hottest thing in the world, but I've never heard anybody really go in like that to this day. And it's so interesting to listen to. Like, I can't comment on the bars. Nobody was really paying that much attention to the bars. You were too busy being like, this man's just really throwing the ribbit in. I'm sitting on the lily pad ribbit. A fly goes by and I ribbit, snatch it out the ribbit sky. Why would you ribbit try? You must want to ribbit die. Because that's a frog. That's how a frog would fuck you up. He'd be like, with his tongue and he'd kill you. It's really original.
Yes, yeah.
It's super interesting. I would definitely listen to this again. This is a 5-on-5. The beat's really good too. It's more upbeat. It's got like a kind of more bop to it. Like, I don't feel like I could like dance to this on like that old man, two-steppy, got my drink in my hand, bopping at the bar like I'm in my 30s at the club. It's totally that vibe. But like, it's got that vibe. This is my favorite song on the project so far. Abso-fucking-lutely. It's super cool. I would big recommend. I don't know if you'd like it, but I'd still recommend it to you. Who You Want Test is next. All right, what do y'all think about Who You Want Test?
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I thought, we're kind of getting back into this, like, we had that like fun energy, even though it's still like consistent with how he's like proving he's the best. The last track still had like just more fun to it, more of like a vibe, more of like, this is unique, right? Here's more like we're getting a little bit more serious, reminding you this is why I'm the best, this is why nobody can step to me. But I also kind of took it as like a caution, like a warning to people, like, be careful on who you want to play with. Be careful on who you want to test, because you never know how good some people may be, how ready some people may be to bring it. And he just comes in swinging and does his thing. I like the piano on this. That kind of stuck out to me. I really like pianos and beats for some reason. It's just one of my favorite instruments. But I also like in verse 2 near the end where he's like, you never know what I'm going to say after I say what I say, when I say what I say, when I say play next. Like, for me, that's just like really cool how he's like acknowledging how good he is and he just comes off the top. And there's like another point he like claims this is all like no pencils, no like written, this is all like freestyle. So like that kind of plays into that too, which I thought was cool. But like, it's just another track. All positive things. It's just kind of like another track on the project. The interlude actually did stand out. I don't know if he's like, when he says the deceased, hold on, I just lost it. The deceased resented the fact and told him off in no uncertain terms. He still kept coming. He identified himself and then he drew his revolver. And I don't know if like, because 9 is like back from the dead, if he's the deceased person and if he's the guy like walking through with the revolver, or is he like the deceased guy on the other end, or no. Or is the deceased person like 9's enemy, or like opposite rapper Emcee guy, and he's already deceased because in 9's head he's like, you're already dead, my guy, like you're already dead, you don't know what's about to happen. And then when he says like, and told him off in uncertain terms, it's like the enemy's like telling 9 off, so 9 comes through, identifies who he is, and he's like, boom, it's over, I'm about to shoot you with my verbal bullets and shit. So I thought that was cool. And I like how he just keeps bringing back the essence of hip hop, like cream of the crop, nonstop hip hop, funky stuff, rough enough to break up the handcuffs. Like even just that, the way he's rhyming is super dope. I thought it was cool. It's a 4.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. This one like didn't really like stick with me. Like there wasn't really anything that I like loved about this song in particular. Um yeah, I don't know. For me, like I found this one kind of like forgettable. Like I don't know. Maybe it was after like that whole frog thing that I was just kind of like, all right, what's gonna be next? And then it was like this, and it wasn't as like random and weird and unique or whatever, I guess. So and he doesn't sample Barry Manilow, which is a shame in my opinion. You know, Copacabana is a hit. And so I gave this one a 3.9 on 5. It wasn't my favorite.
Oh, he made Copacabana?
Perry
Yeah.
Manilow.
Oh.
Yeah. Bonnie got really into Copacabana for a while. We listened to it like 14 times a day for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then we never heard it again. But I can tell you that her
Nice.
name is Lola, and she was a showgirl, and then I don't remember the rest of the words. I kind of agree with Bonnie on some track placement stuff. It a little bit feels like he went really out there, so somebody told him, yo, put like almost generic hip hop sounding song right after it to remind them that you still like actually a like a regular rapper in a sense. Cause like maybe again it's just the placement. Like if the Ribbit song hadn't just been there, I feel like we would have just been flowing. But like we did just go like so left field on it. And then
Yeah.
this came back to like, yo, if you challenge me, I'll fuck you up. But I did this off freestyle. And I'm not saying that's not like less cool or anything. It's actually dope that he freestyled it. Though, since I've talked to a bunch of New York cats from like the 90s, I realized that there really was just like freestyling like 8 hours a day all the time. So it's effectively written when you're freestyling and you're able to pull from this bag of like pages and pages of shit that you've practiced to fucking death. So freestyling,
Yeah.
what they did is super interesting because of how much like went into it. Still, I do believe that if he's off the top with it, cool, because it does actually come off more like that than it does like a really cohesive written verse. It feels like he's just spitting his game like he was in the Cypha rapping at you, and it's enjoyable. And I really like shit like I'm hungry like Jack 2 inches away from a Big Mac, then buck, 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 take that with you on the way down so you don't feel the ground. So it's like you can't even enjoy a Big Mac without getting shot at and things like that. And like it adds this flair of like the spastic nature of his mind, this like immense range of emotions from almost the silly stuff into the super serious nature of his environment. And the way he raps with his flow is just, again, really enjoyable to listen to from the technique of rapping. I just had a lot of trouble getting into the song, mostly on the placement, because it went from like what I consider to be the best song that I heard so far to it felt a little fillery, but not bad. Again, if that others, this is what I mean by placement. I don't know how to have gotten me to this track again and like been cool with it. And maybe there just isn't a path there that isn't going to be abrupt, but that's the kind of stuff that I feel with album placement. The interlude's cool. The song is enjoyable. I don't know if I'd sample Barry Manilow, but I would say this song rhymes well. He does everything right. It's a 4.25, but I had a lot more trouble getting into it. Still, the beat's good too. I think the thing is like the tempo slows down a bit. Like it just kind of gets a little grittier, grimier, like, and it's less what I would enjoy throwing on a regular basis with my current preferences. So What You Want is the next one.
It was supposed to be a Freshmore verse on that Skin Deep project, but what
Now
happened
you're
to that,
selling out your
Freshmore?
mans like that. Rude ass Chris. Rude ass Chris. So What You Want, Chris? How do you feel about this song?
You're homie, you could do many things.
You can do it. Oh
Honestly,
my guy.
this kind of took a dip. This is
What?
where things start.
Chris, you have
dip for me.
terrible
Yeah.
taste. Not terrible. But I don't want to be rude. But what?
No, just like I caught myself like not really getting into the song. Like I just kept getting distracted. I wasn't really like feeling it. It's good overall. Like it's not bad. His rhyming is good. What I did like out of all of it was like I gets banned if I do, I gets banned if I don't. So sometimes I will and sometimes I won't. And I feel like that's more relevant now just in terms of like the Facebook bans and all the shadow bans and all this shit on social media. And then the rest was just hype.
I'm not convinced anyone ever gets shadow banned for the record.
I kind of got Gave it a 3.8 on 5. Like this kind of takes a dip.
Wild.
Well then.
How do you feel, Bonnie?
So this one has the most spins on Spotify. So I was like, I wonder if there's something like fantastical about this song. Like, so when I got to it, because some of them only had like 7,000 spins, and then this one had like over 1,000,000. So, um, so this one, I think it may have been featured in like a movie or something. Like, I think that's why, like, it maybe got more eyes on it or ears on it or whatever. Um, so it says he's got an alien vibe, which is like kind of true. Like I definitely like agree with him on that. And this one is more sort of like a fun song about being successful in the Bronx. Um, and like it has a fun beat. His flow is good. He definitely loves hip hop. There's positive energy on this one. So I liked it. I thought it was good. I gave this one a 4.4 on 5.
First of all, this beat is ridiculously fun AF. Like, I'll be real with you. I did not have an easy time focusing on the bars on this one because the way he flowed versus that beat was this like really beautiful synchronization of vocal tone as instrument, and I just found myself like waving to it. Like you could just move to it. It just has this vibe where frankly he could have been rapping phone book bars at me like John Smith 782469 and I would have been fine because the way he raps over this beat, fucking perfect. Just sounded amazing. I like the mixing just blended everything totally perfect. Like it's just fun, and especially because we've been in this drought of like darker, slower, kind of more morose beats. This is like really an upbeat, like crack of sunshine in the middle of the day kind of vibe to it tomorrow. As I said that, I looked and I saw, plus I don't need to hear no sorrow. F it, the sun will still come out tomorrow. Long as I'm breathing, needing, even like Stephan. That's a corny line. Even like Stephan achieving, getting some cheese and representing lovely. Boogie down Bronx major. And I guess because I spent like fucking, I don't know, 5 days around the Bronx. It's cool. It's just cool to picture that shit. I don't know. The overall vibe of this is enjoyable. I don't have like this crazy amount of love. Sorry, that's not the right term. Like focus on the bars. So I don't like it's not love or hate or anything. It's just focus. Like the bars are fine, but I really enjoy the sound of this song, which I think ultimately is the most important part. And sometimes we get so caught up in the nuances we forget about the sound. This hits. This could just be played in a car. This could just be like a whole vibe. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5 on 5. The next track is called Forever Blunted. All right, how do y'all feel about Forever Blunted?
I like this one. I don't really have like so much to say about it, but I liked it. It's about being high and has like a positive vibe. Like the beat is enjoyable. It's not like it's just like chill. And this one kind of like has like a fun feeling to it. Like it's just kind of like a little bit more like energetic, but like in like a positive, like not like crazy wild energetic, but just in like a happy feeling kind of way. So I liked it. I thought this one was nice for like, essentially like a weed song. So I gave this one a 4.3 on 5.
That was like so blunt.
I thought it was
Facts.
cool. I felt myself being distracted again and not really kind of feeling it, but the beat was super slow. Not like high energy as the other ones. I guess it's cool. Like he just kind of reminds us that he's forever blunted, and it's various scenarios of him doing things while being high and having weed around him and just kind of being the best at what he does. Yeah, I like the little interlude kind of giving you this like insight to just how like life is sometimes and people like knocking at the door when you're kind of like spacey or whatever and like shit's kind of happening all at once. You get like a little bit of like a this is what my real life is like. But yeah, man, like I don't know, I just didn't really feel it, and the vibe and the whole energy is just kind of like meh for me right now. So it hit another 3.8.
I think it's so bizarre the mix of people are getting shot, but I'm forever blunted. Fuck your alcohol. And I feel like it's a bit of like a commentary on how like alcohol is very legal and very accessible and creates a degree of violence, right? And instead, he chooses to stay weeded, where he minds his own business and he just kind of gets through the day and does his own thing. And you know, it's a game like this reality of you don't necessarily want to be violent, but it's completely around you. But like, it's interesting. It's like it's silly. Here comes the sequel. You can get drunk as a skunk, but weed's illegal. I'm forever blunted anyway. I don't give a fuck what Uncle Sam say. Okay, let's parlay. I mean, now it's not illegal in New York, but it took till this year, I think, for it to really go down. Maybe last year. And it's just like the fact that you're just trying to smoke your weed and do your thing, and the cop's gonna come through and cause a problem with it. Like, I think it's an interesting social commentary again. Like, look at the world we live in, and here's this pretty interesting solution, but instead it's almost the cause of so much of the violence because, like, again, when it's a narcotic that's being distributed and it's part of the drug game, because it's illegal, it helps now perpetuate some of the situations, whereas like legalization in a sense would circulate it, and normalizing smoking weed would probably have like a more calm, less aggressive group of people with less red rum, so to speak. So I think it's an interesting song because it, I feel, communicates that, but it really is like, you don't hear a lot of, yeah, I'm forever blunted, but it's because motherfuckers be dying. Like that, you know, it's like, it's a different vibe than just like another weed song. So I thought it was super interesting. The beat's kind of like on that standard of this project. It's not like my favorite sound, but it's extremely well made. I would give that a 4.5 on 5. It's really well done. And the next one is Peel. I'm going to just say I'm not sure who Bob Lewis or Al Blount is.
Yeah, I've looked up Bob Lewis, and like there's two different people that could be him. Like it could be an American composer and musician, or it could be an American businessman who owned a number of thoroughbred racehorses. I don't know.
It could be the racehorses guy. He made people peel. I don't know. How do you feel though, Chris? I feel like you're eager to tell us about it.
Tell us.
I'm actually kind of bored at this point with the project.
Oof.
Like this is the third track in the row that I was just sitting here and I'm like, I am not feeling this at all. Like I just these last three tracks have not been my favorite. I just kind of sounds like more of what we've been getting, and I'm just like, okay, like nothing really new. I am impressed with like the way he goes like deep, jeep, creepers. Like the way he always fluctuates his voice is really cool, and how he just kind of always has like different sort of things like that. But like the rest is still pretty solid, and just I don't know, the beat didn't really do it for me, and yeah, so I just left it with a 3.8. Like,
and you, Bonnie?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was feeling that this one was a little bit boring as well. Actually, this is just kind of him like trying to be like, I'm the best rapper, I'm better than the others, like that kind of feeling. But like not really like saying anything really in particular. It's just kind of like him like showing off and just. But I mean, I've heard better showing off already on this album of him. So yeah, for me, like this one was like just fine. I gave it a 4 on 5. I couldn't figure out who Bob Lewis was, so yeah, that's it.
Unless it's the beat maker, because Rob Lewis, I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, but still, I kind of feel with y'all on this one. There isn't a lot for me to latch onto on this one. His delivery's fine. The beat's fine. Everything just feels like fine, but it does feel a little bit more like a fillery song. I feel like the hook, though, really does stand out. Like he was trying to come out with this like different energy. Like the peel, give me the crown or you'll be feel blue still. Like it's got like this energy to it there. But when you get back to the verses, I just wasn't left with like a whole lot of like I related to it, but I feel like this one's more gun centric, and I'm not that gun centric in my life, so it makes a little bit more sense why it wouldn't connect with me as much as some of the other topics where I do feel like again this is some stuff that he's relating to in his life, and it fits on this album. It's just personally I had more trouble with it than other ones. Anyway, I do enjoy listening to him in general. Like I wouldn't skip it if it came on, but I wouldn't really go out of my way to like seek this track out either. But I did want to point out, and it's not even the first time, that he does have condom bars, right? So like he is a proponent of safe sex and make sure that while the hose may be there, the gym hats are in the pockets right next to the gun that's in the waistband. So
Lucky.
I'm really with that. You know, it's cool to see that coming through. So I'm gonna give this one like a 4/5 because it's fine. It's a well-made song. The next one on this project is Retaliate, which doesn't have lyrics. So watch how
We'll just listen.
So what do you all feel about Retaliate?
This one gave me the same sort of like situation as the previous song. Like I found it good but kind of boring, and like I don't know, like it just didn't like stick with me. Like it was fine and whatever, but I don't know. It was okay. I don't really have anything really much to say about it because like it's like they're like chanting a bit and whatever. I don't know. I don't really think that it's that great. Anyway, so I give it a 3.8 on 5. I really don't have very much to say about it.
And you, Chris?
My Jimmy grows like Pinocchio's nose.
Facts.
That's what I caught. That was dope. That was a nice little line. I like all of them. I feel I like the energy they have with each other. They all stand up very nicely. It's not like anybody's kind of better than the other one. They all just have their own type of like flows and their own type of just kind of vibe to it. So that was cool. I like the whole retaliation chorus type of mantra. That's dope. It feels like they're fighting back. It feels like they're kind of giving like a warning, like you're not gonna like when I retaliate. Once you like step on me and you like, you know, put pressure and all this like heavy weight, eventually I'm gonna break out and do what I gotta do. I still felt like it was a lot of like I'm better than you bars, and here's like my friends who can also validate that I'm better than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was cool. It's 4/5.
I like the fact that it did have some people on it. It features A.R.L. and The Exorcist. And I feel like they blend well together. Don't ask me who rapped what. There were no lyrics on this song. I can't even quote you much on it. But I really appreciated the way they blended in and out of each other. It was a very alive feeling, versatile song. And I think having the features, changing it up a little bit, but keep maintaining the same kind of energy made it more enjoyable to listen to. Because it is in the same vein as the other ones where it's like, don't fuck with us. We are good at this. Others are not. We'll retaliate if we have to. It is more fun to just have the other guys come through and bounce off of him and almost have his voice. Because his voice just cuts deep when it cuts. The other guys are in a higher pitch.
Yeah.
So, like, it feels like when DMX has some homies on the track and they don't sound anything like DMX because nobody did except for maybe a few guys. And I enjoyed the beat. I thought it was really more like upbeat, more fun to listen to. And it kind of, this one felt more like it has single potential behind it than some of the other ones, which were left more with maybe it was a bit of a filler song. A lot of these songs too just have these long ass outros. And like, I know there was a bit of the culture of like, leaving the instrumental there so people can loop it on beat tapes, this, that, the next thing. But man, I felt a little bit like, you know, the outros drag on a little bit. This was pretty much across the whole project, not necessarily a criticism of this particular song. But I also know that many people enjoy that and it doesn't necessarily like impact a whole lot. Either way, this one was good though. It's a 4.25. The next one is The Cypha. All right, Bonnie, tell us how you feel about The Cypha.
Well, he will make you move your body. It's that's kind of what he's mentioning on this one. Like, which is kind of true, but at the same time, I also don't really find any of his songs or beats particularly danceable. So that's my interest. Um, so like at this point, like I feel like I've kind of like lost like my attention for this album. Like I tried listening to it a couple of times and like I just feel like here it's fine, but like it's not like outstanding. So it's just kind of like I'm paying less and less attention to like the songs at the end just because I'm like, all right, like, can we get this over with a little bit? Like not that it's bad, but it's just like not holding my attention.
Hmm.
So I give this one a 4 on 5 because it's good. It's just not like super captivating.
I feel that. I see what you're saying, Bonnie. I like what he does with this. In terms of like it being like a Cypha, and he's got like this edge to his flow, and it kind of looks like it kind of feels like he's like rapping to somebody or like rapping to a
Mm-hmm.
group of people, not really like just like in the mic or in the zone. It's more like I'm really here to show you my MC skills, which I thought was really cool. And I like how the chorus is like the Cypha get frisk just in order to get in, and it's like you like to make sure nobody's got like weapons on them, nobody's got like anything bad, to like kind of keep it kind of controlled and safe environment, because some of the shit that's been saying like could potentially bet, but I bet your ass feel this meat cleaver, swing swing chop chop, you gonna drop. And it's like I could see how somebody might want to fight you if you say that in a rap battle if they had XYZ on them. But it's cool, like it had more of this like stern tone to it, like he's really trying to like remind us like, yo, I'm a real MC and this is how we get down, and it doesn't matter the cipher I'm in, it doesn't matter where it is, I'm gonna just go for it, and I'm gonna take over. And that's really what I felt from this track. I thought it was cool. I gave this a 4 on 5.
Well, I feel like it's worth contextualizing the Cypha. It isn't necessarily the Cypha that you picture on the internet with the YouTube videos or something else, right? Like, let's keep in mind, this is some 90s hip hop shit in the Bronx. So, as we've learned via the interviews that we do, this has a lot more to do with, like, literally a bunch of people in various places, whether it's a school or the hood, whatever, whatever. And you be rhyming there, and you have to walk into this cipher full of strangers, possibly people in territory that isn't necessarily, your own, and kill it and come through with like proper bars. And I think it's just trying to like add a level of respect on what the cipher is. And I really enjoy in like the third verse when he's like, um, who's your man with the whack ass rhymes? You must be stupid. I was doing this before you hit puberty. You think your style's original. It ain't new to me. And it's like that idea of where you get at with the game, where people come through, and sure, it might be clever or whatever, but you have to remember that like clever has to transcend other people's like expectations and shit. And it's like a reminder that when you get into the cipher, you're getting into it with like people who've been there and done that for a while, so you have to come through with like your best performance. And by virtue of that, if he's in the cipher, that's the level that it's gonna be at. And you can't be coming with corny shit, and you have to like bring your A game. And I feel like just getting frisked just in order to get in, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the violence of a situation, but it also could almost be like you're gonna get checked just to enter the cipher. Like you can't just come in here, like your skills have to measure up or you're not even allowed to. I thought it was a cool song. I did feel like at this point it is a bit of the sameness. So like I said at the very beginning, you're either going to like it a lot or you're going to kind of struggle with it. And this is where like I feel like the struggle part comes in, because it is a very monotonous feel. But when you go back to it, like if we hadn't heard hundreds and hundreds of projects kind of like this, we wouldn't feel that way in 95 when this was like the sound and a bunch of other shit. So it's worth pointing out that this would be like if you were listening to a UK drill project. You're okay with the sound sounding hot all the way through, because this is what was hot. It's just not what's hot today. So we have to look at
Right.
it with that level of appreciation and just at least remember that. So I give it like a 4.25. It's a cool song. But let's talk about shit. How do you feel about
Remember
this
when
song?
Remember when 2 Chainz did that song and he was like, they call me oh fuck, oh shit? That's kind of how I felt with this song. Like how he uses the ah shit to emphasize how good he is and like play on like how people go, oh shit, whenever he does like a really cool bar or whatever it is. And that's kind of really what stood out to me. The rest of it is cohesive with the rest of the project. The dude's good. I didn't really feel like there was much that like caught my eye, but it was cool. Like just the chantiness to it and how everybody and like you said off cam, like the crowd just being there and like having them scream it back at them is really cool. So it's dope. It's a 4 on 5.
Yeah. I mean, like it's kind of sounds like this is like supposed to be like, you know, there is a crowd involved, so I'm assuming it's maybe like a battle rap situation or something like that, and like one guy's like, you know, saying whatever, and then he's just like he's shit, but then like Nine will step up and everyone's like, oh shit, like, you know, like they're all like waiting for him to like destroy it, kill it, whatever, and like the things that he says maybe like back to in like a battle, you know, make people be like, oh shit, you know, like that kind of thing. And like it just kind of gives me that vibe. So in that sense, it's like a decent anthem, I would suppose, like in that sense. And he does mention that he represents the Bronx, but like overall, I couldn't really decide like if I liked it or not, or like if I cared about it. Like I think it's decent as a song, but I just don't know if I like it. So I give this one a 4 on 5.
This song was relying entirely on people's desires to go, ah, shit, shit. So
Yeah.
if people are down for that, this song's a smash. It's built for it, quite literally. They built the crowd participation into the song. The outro with the beat fade, you can just picture him being like, come on, y'all. You know, just clapping along or something. You can just picture the clap kicking in. And everybody singing it, right? Like you can. This was built for a live show. It's a good song in that regard. I like the lyrics. I think this one's fun. I feel like he has a great delivery. Like he just kind of is more engaging with it. As far as what he's saying, I mean, I don't know how much of it I'm like. It's at this point in the project, it's a lot of what we've gotten. His delivery's great. Everything about how he uses his voice is interesting. I just don't know that there's a whole lot of bars in here that I was like, okay, fair enough. Like it didn't hit me with that, but it again was one of those songs where the sound was just super enjoyable. I'm like, the way he raps is super impressive, but like, the devil didn't make me do it, you made me do it. You're spreading rumors like a bitch, so I cut off your switch, left you bleeding and needing medical attention with a hole in your head. I mean, like, it's pretty blunt. Like, it just doesn't require additional Holden commentary. You know, like,
You
that's
just
kind
have
of
to say, oh shit, and that's it.
that's what I'm left with. So to me, it's like the big reliance of that hook, like, and I don't know how it went. I want to know so badly if people were like down for it. Like, I feel like I'm down for it. Like, I was singing the hook. I don't know if Chris was down for it though. I feel like we would have different levels of enthusiasm at the live show. I'd be like, ah, and then I look over and Chris would be like, I want to shuffle. I want to do my shuffle. Yo, nobody's talking about being on road here. It's very frustrating.
Yo.
So ultimately, I can see a lot of people liking it and a lot of people not. Like, this is one of the most hit or miss songs I ever heard. So I'm giving this a 4.35. It's super cool. And also, I do recognize I'm butt. It is what it is. Let's move on and talk about Everybody Want Heaven, the Redrum remix. All right, Chris, how do you feel about the remix?
It's cool. I like how he just goes, fuck that, I'm changing it. Must be the chronic, not fuck that. New track, new rap. That's how I'm coming at you, Black. And I like how he's just kind of having fun with it. The beat is still the same as last time. It's dope. I feel like he's saying a little bit more like just deeper shit on this. Like, I'm hitting like raindrops falling from skies when God cries as the chosen man on stolen land dies. Eyes red from inhaling herbs from cannabis plants. And you're just kind of like, shit, like, shit's really rough. But it's cool. Like, it's just a 5-minute remix, and Nine just kind of gives you what Nine gives you. So it's a 4 on 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, I guess. Like, I just didn't think that there was enough like added or like changed to this song to be like like I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch. I think sometimes when people or artists like do this on albums and they make like one of their earlier songs a remix and it's so similar to the original, and I'm like, why? It's like you just don't have any other songs. Like I just feel like either it needs to be more or don't do it at all.
Or at least have somebody on it. Like,
yeah, like, something different.
He was just like, I fucks with this so much. We doing a whole other song, 3 verses.
Yeah,
like,
and like he definitely
loved this song.
On, like
he featured him, sampled himself. He just ran this shit. I'm so into the like how much he loved this song.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine, but like, and I just feel like there's like a lot of like dependency on like repeating words over again, and it just kind of like show like in some of his other songs that we've already heard. So it's fine. It's just like I was expecting something more, so I give it a 4 on 5.
I feel like this song is definitely like, I went back and I'm like, didn't I hear this already? And I got really confused and I couldn't figure out which one it was, and then I realized it's just the Redrum again.
Though.
I mean, I feel like he came in and like Lindell says he freestyled this one. I believe he freestyled, like he just came through and he just rapped his shit, said whatever popped into his mind. And this stuff, like, if you're really into the multisyllabics of shit, like pants sagging, toes I be tagging, I'm ragging rapper suckers, I rock more than jam smuckers, stomping like chuckers, motherfuckers, like the way he's just condensing syllables in and like rhyming a bunch, it sounds really cool. When I think about what he's saying, I'm like, it's aight. Like, I'm like, for me, there was much more serious stuff that was brought up before the Stolen Land. So, like, at that point there, but I was really caught, like, he literally goes, one for the incredible, original, lyrical, spiritual. Like, he literally does it. He does it on this song. Man, it's like, this is the shit that people want to be so bad that we make fun of them and call them lyrical, miracle, spiritual rappers today. But this is like the original version of that, where this isn't meant to insult Nine. This is, again, me kind of pointing out to the world, like, so many people who claim to be original are just trying to do this shit that was just done so much in the 90s and 2000s. So it's such an, like, I'm not saying you can't, but like how many times have we gone back to like 1995 and then you bump Homie's track in 2022 and it sounds like you want to be 1995 while he whining about how other people are carbon copy. There's a little bit of an irony there, especially when rappers rap about rapping. Like, you have to be really innovative to rap about rapping and other rappers and not come off like you're just trying to be these dudes. So these dudes is cool, though. And I really appreciate what he's doing. He's flaring and stuff. Unfortunately for him, indie rappers ruined this shit for me, in a sense. But, like, I really like the way he's doing it, and I really appreciate his energy. And I really like the fact that he comes through, and it's like, you can just see how effective these guys were back then, because it's so impactful to this day. And it's cool. It's like a cool song. I feel like it was long, like by the end of it, and maybe it's just because you heard the exact same beat or there wasn't like enough of a deviation on the remix. But the other side of it is you literally have got 2 versions of this song to fuck with. And if this is exactly what the fuck you want, this is a big blessing, because like sometimes these people be put in the remixes where it's the exact same lyrics on like a slightly different beat or something, and you're like, okay, stretching your album, man. But this guy be like, nah, bro, you're getting a whole new song because I love that beat so fucking much. And you can just picture him be like, the song was done one day, instrumental comes on accident, he's like, nah, I'm too high, let's run it. But you already did this. Shut the fuck up, let's run it. And then this whole fucking track pops out. Extra song, just like that.
And it's a remix.
It's pretty cool. And it is a remix because it is the same base premise, and it is. It's just not like you would expect, I find. Or typically people do them a little differently, but I fucks with this. It was like,
Hmm.
from his end, it was a lot more effort than it had to be to do a remix on this song, and it really feels like a passion move rather than a commercial move. I digress.
True.
Any Emcee is what comes next. Chris, are you waving your arm?
I mean, not
I mean, he be
directly at him,
he be
but
waving his arm. I guess he disagrees.
I may be signifying that this is kind of what it is. It's
Yeah.
another catchy tune where he's like, if you don't agree that I'm the best, then wave your arm so I know who you are and I can handle it the way I gotta handle it. And the beat's a little bit different. I like it's a little bit has like a bassier like feel to it. It's kind of like just dark. I want to say darker, but not like in this grimy sense. Anyway, it's cool. It's a 4-on-5. It's nice.
Okay. And how do you feel, Bonnie?
I like this because it's mixed with Eric B and Rakim, and which in my opinion was the best part of this song. So I feel like that's saying something.
You're saying y'all are
He's not-
haters.
No, I'm not saying that he's bad, but like there maybe is a reason that we haven't heard of him before. And so just kind of, saying that. Like it's not bad and it's catchy and it's like it has like a fun beat to it and I liked it, but like it was definitely like what I remember of this song was very much the Eric B and Rakim sample. So yeah, I mean it is just kind of what it is. I gave it a 4-on-5 because it's not a terrible song, but yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, I'm not gonna act like I have a lot of insight on this track. I just think it's pretty like par for the course on his album. So
Yeah.
it's an enjoyable experience. The beat comes through and he's just vibing over it. I do appreciate the use of the Rakim sample. I think it's fun and it fits it. But it's like I just feel like at this point I don't know what else to say to it. I do like lines like being broke is like having no blunts, just a lighter. It's about dead president nines and I am the nine getting mine, no crime. So you get the sense that he's really just in this to try to like build up his situation and he's doing all of his enterprising properly and he's really approaching life the way that you're supposed to. But I don't know. I guess it's just deep in this project, a lot of these songs and a lot of the albums in this era, kind of when you really go through the albums, get to a point where because of the state hip hop's in, so much of these projects are really rapping about rapping. Then you get the more storytelling journalistic projects that come a bit later on and then the Puffy era takes over. But like a lot of this era is just that. And so, I mean, individually lines are pretty good, but it isn't like I'm sitting there feeling like, damn, that's the best shit I ever heard. Nah, I just love the way he raps. So it's a lot more about his technique that matters to me. And then it's not sticking with me as much as it might, but I do find it really enjoyable to listen to. So I'm still like feeling like some of my favorite songs were a bit earlier on the project, but I'm also not thinking this is bad by any means. So I gave it a 4.25. I think the biggest thing I have with it all is that the beats kind of are homogenized more than he is. So because it's all so consistent, it doesn't feel like it's as easy to distinguish between the various tracks. I digress. The last one on this album is Rass.
Yes.
All right, Chris, what do you think about this album closer, Rass?
I think Lindell's comment on Waking Me Up speaks for itself. Whatever. It is what it is. It didn't really hit me in any sort of way. I think he's like talking about a girl and wanting to get into pussy and do all that fun stuff. But I think like at this part, I just don't care. Like I was just kind of drained out. I was just really like, yo, this is a lot. And you beat me down with a bunch of lyrics. And now this. What I do like is the jazzy type of like lounge feel that it kind of gave off in the background with the beat. That was nice. But like, it's just a 4-on-5 I ain't got much shit to say.
How do you feel, Bonnie?
Similar. So so I was happy that this album came to an end or was coming close to an end when we got here. So for me, like this one was like not the best, but it's not the worst. Like it has like some catchiness to it. You know, he does a good job. I just don't find it particularly captivating. And I think that's kind of like Chris's problem as well. Is like he wasn't being like drawn in. There wasn't anything to like really like sink your teeth into here. Um and we have like, you know, like it's just sort of like general tough bars. He has made a few references to the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz on this album. So like there was a couple of other times that I caught that as well. So it's interesting. I don't know why maybe he just really fucking loves the Wizard of Oz, which is like cool. um but yeah, I just felt like there was more variety needed. um so I think that's maybe another reason why I wasn't like loving the album as a whole, but you know, whatever. So for me, this song is fine. I would never go back to it. I was kind of glad that the album was over at this point. So I gave this one a 3.9 on 5.
Ooh.
I feel like this one was one of the better ones at the end of the project. Like it just had some energy to it. It's like picked up a bit. He's talking about some different shits. Like the first verse is a little bit more aggressive, you know, still on that point thing. But all of a sudden he's washing his nuts and shit, and then he's taking those very clean nuts that he's just had, putting them into your mouth so that you look like Dizzy Gillespie. That's a really cool fucking you know, bar in the sense of I never understood that side of like hip hop where they'd like do shit like put their balls in your mouth. But like fair enough, and I feel like it's creative and it comes through in the way that it's like meant to be, but again, at this point if you're not that interested in it, it isn't going to bring a lot new to the table. It's still kind of in the same general sense of what he's been doing. He does have more references on this one. Like he does his little Everlast jump around, and then after that he kind of flips into an outro where he kind of like shouts out some of the people around him that he's like giving love to. Then the album just kind of ends. And yeah, I don't know what else to really say about the song. The beat to me is better. I feel like this is a better version of what we've heard in the last few
Yeah.
songs, but I kind of get the burnout feeling on the project as well. So I have it like a 4.35. So what do y'all think about 9 Lives as a whole? The compilation of work.
I ain't
So-
going back to this.
Yeah.
I'm not. Like I didn't heart any song. I'm just not. Overall, it's like a 3.9 project. Like it's like talent wise, dude's great. Vocal ranges and the characters and the fun and the energy is great. It's a lot of I'm the best and here are 15 reasons why I'm the best. And it's just like I don't know. It didn't feel really like educational. There's some parts where I'm like, oh, I get an insight into your city and how like dark things are, and it's kind of like learning about, you know, what it was back then and shit like that. But then the rest of it is just like we're rapping, which I guess in context in 95, that's what y'all were doing, which fair, respect it. But I don't know, man. It's like it is what it is. I ain't going back to this.
That's right, Chris. You
Sorry,
said you
Lindell.
wanted bars. Lindell gave you bars, and you're like, I don't want those bars.
Yo, mad respect for the bar, because here's like at a level of like appreciation for the bars, they're all good. I guess just one, I may not get all the references, and two, it's just beat down after beat down after beat down after beat down, and I'm just like, all right, I get it. Like you're really fucking smart. Anyway, 3.9 on 5.
Yeah. I gave this album a 4.12 on 5, so it's an 82%. So it wasn't my favorite album. I just didn't feel like there was like a lot of variety, and there wasn't really anything that like drew me in. And I feel like that was part of it. Like I think that it's just so mid-range rapping. Like there's not like enough of like there's not too much and there's not enough. Like there's like just something missing. Like there's not really like danceable beats. There's not really like storytelling. There's not really like horror core. Like some give me like something else. Like it just felt kind of regular. Which kind of in the end made it a little bit boring, I suppose. Like I did think that he does have like a, he does have a really unique, deep voice. Um, but like maybe like he just hoped to like get by with like the sound of his voice and not really like stepping beyond that really too much. Like I mean obviously with the exception of Froggy Frog, like that, and like where he tried to like do that little bit of singing, like that was kind of like fun and different and unique. So like I like he's obviously like creative in that sense. So like I just wish that it would have like shown a little bit more. I felt like he was doing too much of like the I'm a rapper, I'm just gonna do rapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
lots of rappers do that.
that's my thoughts.
I mean, I kind of feel like it's a cool project. I mean, in the context of thinking about 1995 and the whole vibe of what was going on in that part of the music sphere, it fits really well into the era. But I kind of agree there weren't enough songs like Hit 'Em Like This or the Fundamentals that really just showcases like full on ability to be like distinctly next level with it. And in a lot of ways, if you just look at a Genius page and you put anybody else delivering these bars, anybody else could have written a lot of these bars. His delivery though is really stellar, and I do think that as a rapper, like he brought this level of finesse. But I think because so much hip hop got made where practically every bar he said was probably said by somebody else at this point, it makes it harder to latch onto it like that. But it makes me curious about what he did later on. Like I know he did a project a few years back, and I'd be like a lot more inclined to check that out to see where he's at with like a more mature sound, because this sounds like the times. And it sounds like
Yeah.
he's a really good competitor in the combat sport that is hip hop of the rapping in those times. And that is really cool. So that's all I got to say about that. Thanks to like everybody watching it with us live. We did listen to the songs over at twitch.tv/behind that suit. For those of you that do want to come through, we do this Sundays, 12 p.m. EST. Otherwise, yeah, thank you all watching this in the future. We appreciate you as well. 9, if you ever see this and you want to do an interview with us, you let me know.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, otherwise, definitely make sure to let us know what you think in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And shout out Lindell, who used his Patreon powers, patreon.com/behind that suit, to select this album for us to review. On that note, I appreciate everybody watching this, and live long and prosper.
Hi, everyone.